Thanks very much, Speaker. My pleasure to ask a question today to the Acting Premier. Less than a day after your government announced it would be bringing forward accountability and transparency legislation, you announced the appointment of Sandra Pupatello, a former Leadership Party candidate for your party, and a McGuinty Liberal cabinet minister to chair the embattled Hydro One.
Order.
This took place without a public process, without an application process. She's set to make $150,000.
Minister of Rural Affairs, come to order.
Or based on last year's schedule, $3,800 an hour. This is at a time when most Ontarians cannot afford to pay their hydro bills, and when jobs are leaving this province by the tens of thousands. Ontarians are rightfully cynical over this patronage appointment. I asked yesterday that given the Ontario PC government would fire Sandra Pupatello, will this government expose what they have said they will pay her in a severance?
Thank you. Receiver, please. Thank you. Deputy Premier.
To the Minister of Energy.
Mr. Speaker, we have two agencies in particular, Mr. Speaker, who have had chairs who have been in place for upwards of 10 years, Mr. Speaker. We, in the normal course, replace speakers, chairs rather, who have been in place that long, Mr. Speaker. We did look at the abilities of a number of people, Mr. Speaker, and I would say, Mr. Speaker, first of all, with respect to Ontario Power Generation, we appointed Bernard Lord, former Premier of New Brunswick, who had tremendous experience, who incidentally has conservative ties, I believe, Mr. Speaker.
Answer.
And we are very proud of that conservative appointment, Mr. Speaker.
The member from Renfrew, Nipissing, Pembroke will withdraw.
Withdraw.
No, you're finished. Supplementary.
Thank you very much, Speaker. If the Liberals had a Senate, Sandra Pupatello would be the government leader in the Senate. We're tired on this side of Liberal government hats. The sense of Liberal entitlement has worn very thin. I didn't hear what he is paying not only Sandra Pupatello in a severance, but also Bernard Lord, who this caucus does not think is fit to run the OPG. So, again, not only are they going to be forced to pay for these exorbitant salaries, as well as severances that they are not prepared to disclose. Yesterday, the Energy Minister tied the natural gas increase to hydro rates at the OEB. And for a minister that says the OEB chooses rates on its own, it was interesting that he would contradict himself when he left question period. But let's have a refresher on Liberal energy policy. $1 billion gas plant scandal, $20 billion failed green energy plant, and exporting energy at a loss of $1 billion. Now Sandra Pupatello, expensive energy policy. I'd call that a failure. What's the name for
I stand, you sit. Minister of Energy.
Speaker, I quite enjoy the questions I get from my Conservative critic because there's usually a diatribe, Mr. Speaker, that involves 6 or 8 or 10 issues which you couldn't possibly answer in a question. So I have to play, what will I answer today of all of the things that she indicated, Mr. Speaker? I'll get back to her main question, Mr. Speaker. Sandra Pupatello has served this province, served this government extremely well, Mr. Speaker. She served in a number of different ministries, including community and social services and economic development and others, Mr. Speaker. She has had the responsibility of managing ministries that have huge budgets. She has been interested very much so in service to the public. She has economic experience as Economic Development Commissioner for the City of Windsor. Exactly. She has also been a senior advisor to KPGM, a business consulting firm. We are proud of that appointment, and I really think that that's it.
Thank you. From memory, the Minister of Rural Affairs will come to order. The member from Stormont, Dundas, and South Glengarry will come to order. The member from Renfrew, Nipissing, Pembroke will come to order. And I also believe it was the member from Simcoe North. I did. And I'm hearing the member from Halton now. I'll get you. Final supplementary.
If the minister wants to know why I have so much loaded questions in my questions, it's because they have a 10-year record of failure in energy, adding only to the expensive appointment of a Liberal hack who he wants to repay after she lost the leadership of their party and which he supported. We are the only party, Speaker, in this Assembly that is committed to reducing hydro bills. We have said we would monetize OPG and Hydro One and make them accountable so it wouldn't be the Senate for Liberal hacks. We have said we would end that expensive FIT program to the tune of $20 billion a year for 1% of hydro that it's producing. And we said we would deal with the oversupply by creating sensible energy plans. I would stack Tim Hudak's plan against their plan any day. Will they have the guts to go to the floor and put those two energy plans in place and let the voters decide on which path they want to take?
Thank you.
Kathleen Woods.
Seated, please. Be seated, please. Minister of Energy.
Mr. Speaker, I give the opposition credit for bringing forward white papers on their energy policy. One of their policies is to privatize Ontario power generation, which they tried to do back around 2002, Mr. Speaker. And here's what the Toronto Sun said about their initiative, which is in their white paper today.
Toronto Sun.
Instead, it led to the exact opposite of price reduction. Rates skyrocketed amid rampant Tory patronage, and the Conservatives, faced with rising public fury, abandoned the scheme, leaving a financial disaster in their wake. That's from their paper, the Toronto Sun.
Their briefing book.
Also, the $1 Million Act that they initiated, Mr. Speaker, they will cancel existing contracts and expose the province to $20 billion in claims, Mr. Speaker. Their policies were a disaster, are a disaster. They don't deserve to be elected.
Thank you. New question, the member from Simcoe North.